Manafort held secret talks with Assange in Ecuadorian embassy, sources say. So this has been all over the news this morning. Apparently Manafort and Assange met in the Ecuadorian embassy. We're going to talk about this and why you should be skeptical of it. Very skeptical of it. Trump ally met WikiLeaks founder months before emails hacked by Russia were published. Okay, this is according to The Guardian. Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort, held secret talks with Julian Assange inside the Ecuadorian embassy in London and visited around the time he joined Trump's campaign. The Guardian has been told. A well-placed source, so that's their source here, a well-placed source, has told The Guardian that Manafort went to see Assange around March 2016. Months later, WikiLeaks released a stash of Democratic emails. Stolen by Russian intelligence, we actually don't know that to be the case. We don't know that to be the case. Manafort denies involvement. All right, now the rest of this article is just kind of repeating the stuff that we already, that's been talked about nonstop in our news cycle for the past 2 years and counting. All right, why should you be skeptical of this? First of all, and Aaron Matei's been tweeting about this as well as a number of other people. First of all, the Ecuadorian embassy. It's not like Julian Assange has a ton of privacy or a ton of freedom. It's quite the opposite of that. The man has been denied sunlight. He's been denied healthcare that he needs. Verifying a meeting like this would be incredibly easy. Incredibly easy. So why are we just hearing about this now? That doesn't make much sense. Secondly, WikiLeaks has denied this. They've denied this to the point that we'd be willing to bet $1 million and we'd be willing to turn Julian Assange over. They said. That's what WikiLeaks said. Now, I know that WikiLeaks, they've been known to kind of BS. Oh, wait. No, they've never had to retract a document. My bad. They've never had to retract a document. Ever. Never happened. So there's that. So, since we're talking about sources, man, WikiLeaks is really confident this has never happened. They're saying this never happened. What about the source of this article, though? If someone's telling the truth and someone isn't, who's the source of this article? Well, the writer of this article is Luke Harding. Who's Luke Harding? Luke Harding is the guy who's the author of the book Collusion, a book that is a desperate attempt at 15 minutes in the spotlight by this fake journalist, Luke Harding. Luke Harding got his ass handed to him by Aaron Matei on The Real News. What did Aaron Matei do? Well, again, Luke Harding wrote a book called Collusion. Aaron brought him on The Real News and asked him the hard-hitting, unreasonable question, was there collusion? Luke Harding, for 28 minutes, couldn't answer that question. He bullshitted Aaron Matei for 28 minutes, where Aaron Matei would repeat the question, was there collusion? Was there collusion? Was there collusion? It was a very good piece on Aaron Matei's part. Luke Harding made an ass of himself because he's not a real journalist. And the only flaw I saw in that video is that they didn't have carnival music in the background. That would have been appropriate whenever Luke Harding was speaking. Watch that video if you haven't. It's comically terrible on Luke Harding's part. So that's the author of this piece. And by the way, this has been all over the news. The source they point to is The Guardian. And The Guardian's piece was written by Luke Harding, a guy who has been unmasked multiple times. So if we want to talk about sources, on one end you have an entity that has never had to revoke anything. That has never been proven. As of the recording of this, they have never published anything false. On the other hand, you have a noted propagandist who still has a best-selling book, who is using the whole Russiagate situation to inflate their career, and has been unmasked by a guy who asked the question, is there collusion? Now, I know it's very hard. It's very hard to accept the fact that sometimes there aren't good guys in a scenario. Paul Manafort's not a good guy. No one's saying he is. No one's saying Paul Manafort's a good guy. No one's saying Trump's a good guy. They're not. They're not good guys. Do they have corruption? Of course they do. Are all these indictments that are evidence of money laundering and stuff like that, should they be surprising to anybody? No. It's surprising to you that a con artist misappropriated campaign funds, that he has shady money laundering, that he has participated with shady Russian oligarchs? How does that surprise anybody? It's not. But what's going on with Julian Assange? Well, here's what's going on. They're trying to assassinate this guy. That's what's going on. They're literally trying to kill this guy. And that's not an embellishment. That is what they are literally trying to do. And people demonize him because we have to be that tribal. Well, he published incriminating emails about the Democrats, so he must love Trump. No. He's a journalist doing his job, publishing information that he believes the public has the right to know. Why did he publish the emails right around the time of the election? Should he have waited until after? The timing is peculiar. It is? But he should have waited until after the election to show you what was going on? To show you that the DNC were cheaters and liars? He should have waited until afterwards. He's a journalist. And a real journalist is supposed to just tell people the truth, no matter what that is. And they're supposed to be committed to the truth above all else. And not too long ago, Julian Assange, when he was exposing stuff about Bush, he was a hero of the Democrats. Then he shows you something, that goes against the Democrats. All of a sudden, he's an enemy of the state. So, WikiLeaks has projected that this will go down as a journalistic disaster and tarnish the credibility of The Guardian. I guess we'll see, but as of the recording of this, it certainly looks that way. It certainly looks that way. When you look at how easy a meeting would be to verify, when you look at the fact... Oh, and by the way, they've already edited this piece as of the publication of it. It came out this morning. As of the publication of it, they already have made different edits, inserting Weasley language like allegedly and stuff like that. There's tweets out there that show where that's happened. I find it very hard to take anything Luke Harding has to say seriously at all. But even if you take him away as the source, there's still a lot of fishiness and reason for skepticism in this article. Why are we just hearing about it now? Wouldn't a meeting be easily verifiable? WikiLeaks adamantly denies this. No, the sources are vague at best, and everybody's just pointing to this Guardian article as their evidence. All the other media outlets that are repeating this, that are parroting this, they look to this Guardian article as their evidence, and the Guardian article has no actual source. There's no actual source here. That's how propaganda works. So, I mean, we'll see if anything changes, but as of the recording of this... And, what's going to happen? Luke Harding's going to sell more books. And Julian Assange is going to continue to live in the embassy where he's not getting care that he needs, where he's not getting sunlight, where he's cut off from the outside world, where he doesn't get access to his attorneys at times. But Luke Harding makes more money. That's journalism. Not just in the United States, but in the world. Really. I mean, when it comes to journalism, we're really... I mean, even Chris Hayes, by the way, just side note, even Chris Hayes expressed a little bit of skepticism towards this article. Even Chris Hayes. Chris Hayes.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and